Hi, this is Bobby Kimbrough, and glad to be here today. We have Dr. Maxwell with us on Off the Cuffs. Dr. Maxwell, you're the principal at Carver High School, correct?
Yes, sir, I
Welcome
am.
to Off the Cuffs.
Thank you.
You know what we typically do when we have guests here, we always like to know a little bit about them. Well, I know you, the people that are watching may not know you. Are you originally from Winston? Tell us about yourself.
I am not. I'm originally from Snow Hill, North Carolina,
Okay.
small rural community in the heart of Kinston, Wilson, Goldsboro,
Yeah.
and Greenville. If you blink, you might pass us. So
Okay.
that is where I'm from. But I left there, graduated from Green Central High School, went to Bennett College for Women.
Bennett Bell.
I am.
Okay.
I am. Got my master's at North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University.
Is that A&T?
It is. That
Okay.
would be the one and only. And then I got my doctorate degree in educational leadership at High Point University. So
Okay.
I've been here since then when I came to college, and this is where Whitsitt is where my family and I call home.
So let me ask you a question.
Mhm.
Of the three universities you attended, which one are you more partial to?
I think that's a difficult question. I think each of them did something for me at the period of time in my lives that I needed it. I think coming from Snow Hill and going to Bennett, seeing women in that light, being powerful, supportive, intelligent, and then knowing who they were and confidently supporting me to be the young woman that I was supposed to be. I think that made my trajectory for the other ones much easier. Had I not gone to Bennett first, I don't think I would be who I am today.
Okay.
So A&T was what I needed to get my master's in school administration so I could become a principal. So that was perfect for me, the support and nurturing. I also got my certificate in teaching exceptional children at North Carolina A&T. So I was there for a number of years. So I finished this certification and went right into the master's program.
That's good stuff.
So, and then of course, High Point U, the program was perfect. I had children in school, and so it was a weekend program. So we would have to go one weekend a month. But even though we did things asynchronous or had virtual classes, it worked for my life. So I think that, everything happens for a reason and happened in the time that it did for me.
Yeah, all three are great universities.
Yeah.
So tell me, how did you matriculate to the principal at Carver? I mean, what was the track for that? How did you get there? Where were you at before you got to Carver?
So I had started off as an exceptional children's teacher at
Okay.
Andrews High School.
Okay.
So through my career, I was an exceptional children's teacher. I was a curriculum facilitator where I supported teachers in English language arts. I did that at Dudley High School.
Okay.
I would work for the State Department, North Carolina Department of Public Instruction, as an instructional facilitator. I served 17 schools across the state of North Carolina when Judge Manning had the turnaround schools.
Yeah.
I left there and became an assistant principal of instruction at Smith High School. I was there for a couple of years, and then I became an elementary principal, 2 different schools, Sumner Elementary for 3 years, and then Hampton Elementary, which was destroyed, for 3 years. And then I became the principal at the middle college at Bennett, which was a great experience to go back to where I got my start and support young women in that light. And my daughter graduated, and I said, I need something to do. I was used to going to games on Friday night. She graduated from Dudley in 2021. I liked the community, the partnership that the school had. And I said, I've got to find something, but it has to be the right something that speaks to me.
Yeah.
I heard Carver was coming open. I applied for it. It was seamless. And I said, this is it. And so people were like, are you sure? You've heard about Carver? And I was like, yeah, I've heard about Carver. But I think it's a diamond in the rough. I think it is a gem. And I'm super excited that I was given the opportunity to serve Carver and the community.
I'm glad you're here. You're looking at your resume, you well qualified. So tell me, what's it like being the principal at Carver High School?
I think what it is like is you never know what the day is going to hold, right? So I am a very type A structured kind of person. So as a principal, I go in every day with a plan of action for my day. Now I let that go because what I found is that I was leaving more stressed because I didn't meet my goals other than doing what I needed to do.
So let me ask you a question. So I travel around the county to various different high schools, middle schools, elementary. Would you say all schools are created equal?
I would not say that.
Why?
I think there's disparities based upon systemic things that causes education to be different. I mean, from county to county, zip code to zip code, what the community is able to do and provide, the advocacy that is there, the financial backing that is there. So I do think it is a very different kind of process from school to school.
So do you think your school is equal to some of the other schools? When I say equal, I mean equitable. I mean, do you think that if you compared your school to another school, let's say I compared your school to a West Forsyth or Reagan,
It's a difference.
Why do
Very
you say
transparently. So, number one, our demographics are different. I mean, I think that
I know the demographics is different. When I'm talking about the resources that you have versus resources that are at, let's say, West Forsyth.
I got you. So I was leading up to that.
Okay,
so,
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just trying to get there.
Yeah. So the difference, I would say, is that West Forsyth and all of those other schools probably have a larger community backing. So they have a PTA, they have an athletic booster, they have an advocacy group who supports them in whatever they need. So, for example, at Carver with athletics, I don't have athletic boosters. So I have to
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but you know what I always wanted to ask somebody. And, they always seem to tell me that story that, the booster club at this school and this school doesn't have the booster club. So let's say that I'm this person that's in control of the schools, right? Mm-hmm. And I know at the beginning of the year that you don't have the booster backing, right? Do I not have the ability, because you don't have the booster backing, to give you what you need to make you competitive?
So you do have that ability minimally. So let me give you some examples. So, for example, my students needed new helmets. We don't have a booster club. So the superintendent, my area superintendent, along with John Sullivan and his team, made sure that our babies got helmets. So anything I've asked for, I've been given, right? So, for example, I said, we need to power wash our stadium, because if we want to be a premier program, if we want to invite other people into our school, if we want to recruit highly qualified students in athletics to academics, we must have the facilities to support them in those things. And they said, okay, Maxwell, what do you need? So we do get an allocation, but it is not unrestricted funds. So what a PTA or an athletic booster can do, then you can't do with state and federal funds. Does that make sense? So if I decide that I want all of my cheerleaders to have nice jogging suits, or all of my basketball players have warm-up suits, or we need new pads in our gymnasium so that when they come, they're bright and not dull, then I have to wait until I get the allocation of that money to build that capacity. But if I had a boosters club, they could say, oh, how much is it? And they could write me they could write a $5,000 check to the company to get that done. So the way that they utilize the money looks a lot different than what we have to go through to utilize funding.
So in short, the schools are not equal.
They're not equitable. I think that we all have buildings, we all have technology.
Sure, you got, we all got buildings,
we all have
got
technology, we all have teachers.
But equitable and equal, they're not.
Right. I think that is
I say that because being a resident of here a long time, right? My son graduated from Carver. I don't know if I ever told you that.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I hope he's at homecoming this weekend.
He may just be. And as I've looked back, the Carver today is not the Carver of old. It appears to have been, I don't know if diluted is the correct word. And it bothers me. One of the things we talk about around here is transparency. Mm-hmm. And I think when we don't speak truth to power, and we start negotiating the truth, then we practice in what I call hypocrisy and mendacity. And so I think that when we talk about the school system, and I'm glad you're here because I've been wanting to have this conversation. I've had it with Ms. Woodburg. I had it with a lot of people that sat in that seat you sat in. And my answer is that we know that our schools are not equitable and equal. We know that, right? Mm-hmm. We can dance around it. We can play around it all we want to. But the fact of the matter, we know this. I know it firsthand because I see firsthand when I visit a Carver, when I go to Reagan, from the facilities, even the way the lawn is kept, the appearance, the ambiance. And so my question is, if we know this and we have the ability, what keeps us from doing it?
So I started Carver in January 2020. And since I got here, I've been very transparent about advocating for my students because I believe that our kids deserve everything that every other student does. I think that I've been met with support. So anything, for example, I felt like we needed, when you drive down Carver School Road, you should know that Carver is there, right? So I wanted flags. And they were like, okay, Maxwell, how much are these flags? I don't know. But I saw the flags at the restaurants. I need flags at Carver. So we've worked to paint the building to give it a brighter look and appeal. But it is different. It's systemic.
When you say we've worked to do that, what do you mean? Like they came and did it?
Yeah. So they give me money or they, help me find the resources to support us in doing the things that I have envisioned for Carver. But to your point, you're accurate. I mean, I think that here there's some things that are systemic, right? I think that the way that we provide transportation for students with choice versus residential versus magnet also feeds into those things. I think that where Carver is located, I learned a lot of things over the past several months is that therefore the high school is situated within a 5-mile radius of Carver. So if your parents have means to transport you somewhere else, they have the right by which to go. So, but I tell my staff all the time, regardless of what they put to be a barrier, we should be so amazing that we overcome all of those, right? So if we're doing an amazing job from our athletics to our academics and everything in between, people are going to want what we're selling. And I think we first have to believe in the power of us before we can bring people back in. But I think we're moving in that direction. So, for example, we have almost 700 students in our building this year. When I got there, we had 504 students. I think we did a much better job of retaining students, but also recruiting and telling our story and making our own brand. We would never go back to the Carver that it was, but we will be the Carver new, revitalized, reimagined, and reinvigorated. Our children are not the same as they were before. Our parents and community isn't the same as before. The people around us aren't the same as before. So it's our responsibility to figure out how to engage the new people and to make them the best fit for Carver. Because I believe that every student in our building has power and possibility. And so, and I tell everyone that. So when people say, oh, Carver, what do you mean, oh, Carver, right? It should be, oh, Carver, yay, amazing.
Well, Carver is rich in tradition. I can look back growing up. I came out of North Forsyth in 79, and I can look back. Carver was always a powerhouse in athletics. Some of the more affluent blacks in the city lived out in Monticello Park, over in Cumberland, all of that. Mm-hmm. And so Carver has a rich history. Yes. And so when I go around and making my rounds at some of the schools, I always wonder, this ain't right. This is, how can I expect our children to be the best they can be when they come to the table with the shortage? In other words, they don't have the same opportunities. They don't even have the same ability. I was in a conversation in a forum a couple of weeks ago, and somebody said that kids at Carver have to find their own transportation to the Forsyth Tech for the advanced programs or whatever program it is, while other schools, they provide transportation for them. And when I heard that, even though the question wasn't directed at me, it was directed at someone else, I said, that's appalling. And it's little stuff like that, little things like that, that I think that we have to address. I mean, we have to come to the table and say, hey, I should have the same expectations of a student, from the facilities all the way down to the resources, all the way down to the helmets, that they have at any other high school in this county, regardless of the booster club, all of those things that we factor in to say, well, this is why.
I agree.
So I'm going to shift for a minute, just shift. So, I mean, you're aware of some of the things that are happening in the school system, the fights, the violence. So how do you feel about metal detectors in the schools?
Great question. So
yeah, I was coming there. Trust me, I was coming.
Perfect timing. So we actually piloted metal detectors in our building this week. And I think it's another barrier of safety and security. We can't expect schools to be safe just because we say they're supposed to be safe. If we don't put parameters in place, processes and procedures in place to keep the building safe.
So would you like for them to be there year-round?
Oh, I think that's a great idea. I mean, I think that we assume that kids do not carry guns, but kids get guns just as easy as they get a bag of potato chips, right? And as a principal, I take safety and security very, very seriously, because I feel like I am the number one person who's responsible for the safety of every individual in that building every day. And I tell that to my team. So we make sure that we're monitoring doors, that we're listening and got our ears to the street, and that we're visible in the building all day.
You know, some of the pushback that I get sometimes when I bring that to the table about wanting metal detectors in the school is that it's going to disrupt our day, or it's going to do this, or.
But a fight disrupts our day. I think that is people's perception, right? If we have people advocating that I can tote guns as my First Amendment right, I can say what I want to say as my First Amendment right. Why are we not allowed to keep our children safe? That is the right that I have every day. And I think that families understand it. I think it's how you deliver the message, right? So I don't think that people are all going to be excited about these processes because they think schools are supposed to be a safe haven. But we now know, watching the news, that our world is no longer safe, right? Somebody just shot up a daycare center and killed 30 innocent babies. We had a death in a school system here. Things happen. So we should be more proactive and stop being reactive. So if we know these things are happening, what are we doing to prevent them from happening? And just because I have a metal detector, it doesn't mean that my kids are all carrying guns.
It doesn't.
It means that I am ensuring no one is carrying a gun.
Right.
So that I can ensure that everyone in this building goes home safely, uninjured, the same way that they entered the building that day.
You know what baffles me?
What?
And so, as I said, I go around to a lot of the schools. So if I go to Main Street, you have to go through a metal detector, right?
Okay.
So all the kids pass through a metal detector at Main Street. But the kids at Main Street have come from the schools
yes, sir.
Out in the city and the county.
Mm-hmm.
And so that just blows my mind that you have them going through at Main Street, but you don't have them going through out here because the kids that you have at Main Street came from your schools.
You're exactly correct.
And they were carrying him, and the behavior that they exhibited that got them there, they were exhibited in your school. So why wouldn't you want your schools to be safe?
I agree. I don't think it's so much about people not wanting schools to be safe. People don't want to deal with the pushback and the outlash and the outcry from community.
Give me an example when you said outlash and the push. Give me an example.
So people will say, well, kids aren't safe, so we need to homeschool them or put them in private school. Or why are they doing that at Carver? See, I told you guys Carver wasn't safe. Kids are going through metal detectors at Carver. Well, all of a sudden Mount Tabor is horrible. They did metal detectors last week. What is happening at Mount Tabor?
We did them for 2 days.
Right. So, but that's what people will say because people have the opportunity to build their own narrative when they don't know what's actually taking place in the building.
So true.
We did metal detectors yesterday and we didn't find a gun on any student. We didn't find a knife on any student. Now we found a few vapes and some cigarette lighters on kids, but we didn't find anything that would cause harm to other people, maybe harm to themselves. But all of that is a teachable moment. Babies, you shouldn't be using vapes. First off, they're illegal. They're dangerous. You're going to burn your lungs up, and we want you to live a long life, right?
Right.
Lighters, you can't have those in school because what are you lighting up? And that's dangerous. You could set a fire. So all of these things are teachable moments, and we have to use them as such. And so when our students walked up yesterday, they said, oh, this is what we're doing today. Dr. Maxwell, why do you feel we need to do this? And I said to them, because it's my responsibility to keep every one of you safe every day. That's no other reason than that. So unzip your book bags. Thank you so much. Take your Chromebooks out, unzip the case, and the nice ladies are going to greet you when you get to the metal detector. I think you can do anything. It's just the way you spin it and the way you sell it. And I think it takes relationships, right? So I think that my team and I and my staff has done an amazing job of building positive, supportive relationships with our students and our parents. We are transparent. We're hands-on. We're visible. So I didn't have someone else at the door greeting students yesterday. I was at the door greeting students and parents when they came in the building to go through the metal detector. And I think that that's different. Believe it or not, Miss Clemens from Mount Tabor was also there with my team because she tried it last week. Wow. She came to support us. Evelyn Foster, Jonathan Wilson sent the security team. My area superintendent was there. So it's a supportive process that we're doing.
So what's the future for metal detectors at Carver then?
So I think, like we share with our families, we'll use them intermittently. It will not be anything that we do every day because, number one, they were purchased to use at our athletics and our large events. They weren't through a grant. They weren't purchased for everyday use inside of the building. So once we transfer them to the building, we have to move them back outside for the games on Friday night.
So so you have a certain amount assigned to your school?
I have 2 assigned to my school. So when I need additional ones, they went to another school, a feeder school, and picked those up and brought them to Carver for me to utilize for this. So I just went through Jonathan Wilson in his office. I talked to my regional, Dr. Williams. He shared it with Dr. Pratt and Dr. Fabi Williams, as well as Superintendent McManus. And they said, sure, it's a great idea. I think we should get more comfortable with being uncomfortable. We're in unprecedented times. Like you talked about the violence with students. Kids are angry. I think now trauma and adverse childhood experience is more of a conversation because it's not only just for one group of families. It's not just for Black and brown people.
For everybody.
Everybody has experienced some type of trauma, right? Everybody has gone through some type of unprecedented loss. And that makes it more easier to talk about. It's not a conversation piece. Oh, what are we going to do to support these students? Well, some of our students have always been hurt and lost and broken. And it wasn't as big of a deal then. So I think that COVID did some positive things because it brought lots of disparities to the forefront for lots of people so that we can do lots of things to make some systemic changes that will change the outcomes of students as well as our communities for the
You know,
long
I've
haul.
always been told and always that crisis in your life expose your weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree.
So the social unrest as well as COVID exposed a lot of weaknesses within our system. So I understand homecoming's coming up this week.
It's homecoming, y'all.
It's coming, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're excited.
HOMECOMING.
It's homecoming, y'all.
Okay.
Say what?
Homecoming. Yeah. So what's the plans?
Oh, we have a week full of fun, engaging activities. So we're doing Spirit Week. So yesterday was pajama day. Of course, I didn't wear pajamas to work because I was really traumatized by that. But I wore loungewear. So the kids thought it was the same thing. Today is Character Day. So we have a day each day. They get to the SGA.
Each day has a theme, huh?
Each day has a theme. So SGA selected a theme. But Friday is our big day.
What's happening Friday?
Friday, we have so much happening. 102 Jams is taking over the lunchroom, the cafeteria. Then we have a homecoming pep rally, and Ruben Vincent, he's signed to Jamila Records on Rock Nation. He's coming to do homecoming pep rally for our students. We're doing a faculty versus student game. Our Latinx students have put together a performance for us. Then we'll leave that and go into a parade. So we're having a homecoming parade this year. We have about 15 participants in our homecoming parade, so you should really come out to see it or participate. You know, let us drive you down the street in a car and so you can wave at everyone. Then we have, of course, our homecoming football game and tailgating.
Who you playing?
A school that plays football.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I just go to the game.
Okay, I get it.
For my children.
How you looking? What's the record?
The record isn't looking very good, just very transparently, but we're building. So we have the majority of our team is made up of ninth graders. So just so you know,
who's the head coach out there this year?
Wayne Griffin. But let me tell you what's on the horizon. Hold on 1 second.
I got to ask the question, but
I
go
know,
ahead.
But let me tell you. So our JV team won last week 42-0. They just blew it out the water, right?
Who do they play?
A team. But they won is what's most important by 42.
Was it a Pop Warner team or a high school team?
No, it was a high school JV team.
I just
play
asking,
Pop Warner teams.
Just asking.
So I think you're throwing a little shade.
I wasn't throwing shade. I was trying to get an understanding. I mean, sometimes, I don't know.
However, so I wanted to share this information so you know what is to come.
Okay.
So we're rebuilding, just like we're rebranding, we're rebuilding and revitalizing in every other area. We're also doing it in our athletics. So good things are on the horizon with our young men and our football program, as well as we have 2 new coaches for basketball. Coach Ferguson is our male basketball coach, and Coach Lawton is our female basketball coach. So we're really excited about the positiveness that is coming. But back to Friday night. So
but hold on, I'm looking for a coaching job. So I'm actually trying to
what do you want to coach?
Huh?
What would you like to coach?
Basketball. Okay,
so you want to assist with basketball at Carver?
I don't do well assisting.
So you want to be the head basketball coach at Carver, but the position is filled.
Oh, I didn't know that. I missed that part.
Yeah, I said we just hired.
I missed that. It went over my head.
But we would love your support and assistance. So you're welcome to come over anytime. I will give you Coach Ferguson's contact information. Okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
So Friday night we have the football game. And after the football game on Friday night, we have a 5-on-5 basketball tournament at Carver on Saturday.
Friday night?
No, Saturday morning.
Okay.
Saturday morning. And then we have a day party Saturday afternoon at the Roar.
A day party?
Oh, yes, we have a day party.
Oh, so you picking up where homecoming should have been. You picking up where, is that what it is?
Whose homecoming are you talking about?
SU.
No, sir. No, sir. This was already in the works.
Okay, I'm just asking. I know last week, because of the storm.
We hate that happened.
It happened, right?
Yeah, that
so
was
you
traumatic.
Just picked up and running with the homecoming?
So
I like that, though. I like that.
Yeah, so we're trying to revitalize every aspect of Carver. We want the alum that say that they love it, they're vested in Carver. We want them to show up.
So the day party at the Royal, who is that for?
That is for any alum who's been to
this
Carver.
alumni?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep, we don't want current students there. So any alum who's been a previous Carver student, whether you went for 7th and 8th grade, whether you went for 9th grade, whether you went K-8, we want you to show up and show your support and your love for Carver.
What time is that?
It starts at 4 p.m. Would you like to purchase a ticket? I can put you in contact with Mr. Howard Venable.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. He's also a Carver alum. So
I know Venable. I know him.
He's an amazing person. And Mr. Tillman, who's an assistant principal
at
Carver.
He's an Omega man.
He's who?
An Omega man, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're absolutely correct.
I'm usually
correct. I have
correct.
to kind of redirect him a lot at work.
Yeah, I'm usually correct.
He kind of gets sidetracked. I think so.
So how much are the tickets?
They're $40 at the door.
For a day party?
I mean, you get nothing free. I mean, everything costs. And if you're invested in Carver, I love this. I think this is representative of Carver. If you're as invested in Carver as you say, $40 is nothing. And I think you should also make a donation, because the cost we're going to spend for this security over the next 3 days is going to be immense. So it would be really awesome if you would show your support of Carver by, assisting us with some of this detail we have to pay for.
Yeah. I'm sure. I appreciate that.
So just let me know.
I will.
Let's talk after we talk.
So I got one or two questions before we take on. So what should we expect? What's the future look like for Carver?
Our future looks very bright.
I like that.
I believe so our theme for this year is Game On, creating a culture of success for all. So not for some, but for all. So from every person in our building, we want to strive for excellence every day in everything that we do. We may not meet the excellent mark, but we're striving towards it. So we're growing every day. We're being reflective about our practice.
I like that.
We're spending time with our staff talking about providing high quality instruction in classrooms. I thoroughly believe if we are providing high quality instruction every single day in our classrooms, our students, and it's so engaging that they would run to be in the classroom, right? And so we're shifting a lot of things, I think, in Winston-Salem, Forsyth County schools, as well as in our schools. I think Superintendent McManus and her team are doing a phenomenal job focusing on students and student outcomes, talking about what does your data say.
I like her. I think she's doing a great job.
She's doing a great job. Her and yesterday, my regional was there. My area superintendent, Dr. Williams, was there. And we talk about data.
Dr. Fabi Williams.
No, Dr. Quincy Williams.
Quincy
my boss.
Williams.
Yes, sir. So we talk, but Dr. Fabi is a chief of schools. But we talk about data. We talk about outcomes. We talk about what we can do differently to support our students and support our teachers, because teachers also need support. I think educators are at a very dire place. People don't see education as the power and possibility to change lives anymore. They see it as a negative, right? So, people aren't running inside the doors of education. They don't feel supported. They don't feel heard. Initially, when COVID happened, parents was like, oh my gosh, I would give you my firstborn. We need to pay teachers more. They're amazing people.
Right.
But now that kids are back in school, they're like, oh, why do we need to give them pay increases? Why do we need to do this? But without educators, there's no other profession. We need people who are highly qualified, who are passionate and care about changing the lives of students in front of our students every single day. And that is a mission that I have to make sure that happens in my classrooms for every student every day. That means you're going to have change. You're going to have people who were there, who are no longer there. That's okay. No one should come to any place to stay forever. I'm not at Carver to stay forever. God has given me this as an assignment for a period of time. And I am going to do my absolute best to make sure that I leave it differently than I found it. And I think our future is bright. I don't think everybody is going to be on board all the time. We deal with adversity every day. I'm very transparent. People can come in and have these conversations with me all the time, because I want them to know that at the heart of what I do, I want to make sure that we're making good decisions for students every day.
Well, here's what I'll tell you. We're glad you're there. I'm very proud that you're there. I see the change. I see you representing Carver with your blue and gold nails. I see that. I'm going to try to partake in some of your festivities this weekend. But what I will tell you is that education is key to the success of any child.
Pathway to prosperity.
That's it. Education is the true emancipator, without question. And what I will say is that we've got to close that gap. We've got to do that. It's frustrating to me when I travel around the county and I see the disparity. I see the gaps of what one school has and another school does not have. Sometimes it's very frustrating. But I see the energy that you bring to Carver. I see it every time I come over there.
Thank you.
I'm glad you're there. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm going to give you the last word as it relates to taking us home. But I think the future is bright for Carver. Let's keep it going that way.
Yes.
So I'm going to give you the last word, Dr. Maxwell.
This is a wonderful opportunity that you've given me, Sheriff Kimbrough, to be able to tell our story. I think that the same way that you have the opportunity to travel around the county to see the differences in the schools, right? I think other people should do that. So instead of people making an assumption about what they think, they should get out and come and visit, provide some support, lend a helping hand, say, what can we do to help you as Carver? So what you're doing today is giving me an opportunity to share our story. And so I really appreciate that, because people's perception is their reality.
That's a fact.
Unfortunately, it's not often the reality. So when people come in our building and they say, oh my gosh, kids are in classes and engaged. Well, what did you expect of our children, right? So that shows that people's perception and things are systemic. So because we're a black and brown school doesn't mean that our kids aren't being educated.
What's the percentage of black and brown at your school?
We're 90%.
90%?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Our Latinx population, the African American population makes up the majority of our school. But our kids are happy, they're safe, they're supported. And when they're wrong, they're also, they receive discipline or consequences, but it's in a restorative approach because we want them to know that what you did today is not what happens for the rest of your life. Everyone makes mistakes. And I think all of us in this space today have not been the perfect people, and we're still not perfect.
That's a fact.
And so you grow from each experience. So we use those as opportunities, as teachable moments. So again, thank you for this opportunity.
You're more than
I
welcome.
hope that you come and hang out with us this weekend. We'll end on Sunday at Galilee Baptist Church, again, having the opportunity to tell Carver's story with Pastor Scovin. So we hope to see you somewhere throughout the weekend, enjoying and partaking in the fun festivities with us. But you're welcome to Carver anytime. And again, I appreciate this opportunity.
I appreciate that. So Dr. Maxwell, I appreciate you coming by, all the Carver alumni. I look forward to seeing you this weekend as we celebrate the homecoming of Carver. As always, take care of yourself, love one another, and have a great rest of your week.